Hey, this is Chris with Benefits Ally. I'm excited to be joined by Veetahl with Sorbet to take the 3x3x3 challenge. First question, what is Sorbet?
So Sorbet was born when we noticed that a lot of U.S. employees are not taking all of their time off. Now, we're kind of programmed to think of time off in terms of hours and days that we can take as vacation, but in fact, they're worth money. And so what Sorbet does is essentially calculate the value of your unused PTO. And once you apply, we can provide you what we think is the cash value of what you will ultimately receive when you leave your employer if you still have unused PTO days.
Perfect. Second question, how is Sorbet different?
Well, there are a couple of other players in this market that do something along the lines of PTO, but it's very different than what we're doing. They're essentially helping companies administer PTO cash outs. Now, PTO cash outs are very different than PTO cash advances because a cash out is an actual compensation event that happens between employer and employee. And they essentially require two very significant asks from the employer. It requires them to pay cash if they have it, and it requires them a ton of overhead and friction to their benefits team to actually administer this program, this cash out program. Now, these two things are completely eliminated with Sorbet. Sorbet provides a cash advance against your PTO as a completely an external process, not between the employer and the employee, but between Sorbet and the employee. So the company doesn't have to pay cash. It can still pay out at termination when the employee actually leaves. And B, zero friction, overhead on the HR and benefits team.
Perfect. Last question, who's a good fit for Sorbet?
So you obviously have to have a relevant PTO policy, which means that you do have an allocation of PTO that you provide to your employees. It does have to roll over from year to year, so no use it or lose it policies. And you do have to have a policy which pays your employees at termination. If all of these things happen and you care about your employees' well-being, then this is relevant for you. In terms of employees, like I mentioned, people just don't use all of their PTO. In fact, our data shows that people only use on average about 55% of their PTO days. So think about it this way. Any employee that can use a little bit extra cash without having to go to, predacious payday loans or cannibalize their paycheck through earned wage access solutions or lend against their 401ks, this is for them. And we know that 69% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a one-time few $100 expense. So this is pretty much relevant to anyone in any pay grade, in any industry, in any role.
Perfect. Thanks for joining me, Veetahl, and have a fantastic day.